always opens with a keynote introduction before the annual IMS business report. And this year's opening is from, I think, one of the most passionate, innovative, bold, fresh thinkers. So please make some noise for Elijah, who's going to be exploring our theme, Intergenerational Exchange.
Easy. Everyone all right? Sweet. All right. Thank you, team IMS, for the trust here. My name is Elijah. The clicker works, so everything should be blessed. I guess I've been on my own journey of intergenerational exchange for the last couple of years. IMS actually was one of the first people to invite me to speak 2 years ago, 2023, about my ideas I've been sharing on Instagram. So this is kind of what it looked like. This is the yellow square, so if you want to scroll along while I'm talking, it's ELI1AH. I've kind of been sharing ideas, I guess what I thought was intergenerational exchange a couple of years ago, art, my own kind of form of music journalism, and I'm going to kind of dive deeper into, I guess, my interpretation of intergenerational exchange to start us off. Right, so I posted this question, which I think is a distillation of what everyone's been asking me on Instagram, like thousands of questions over the last 2 years, and I feel like this is it compressed into one. How can I get paid to make whatever I like without having to fund or promote it while living good in an expensive city until I die? Which is a crazy question. And there's a way of like reframing this where I think it could be like, obviously outside of sarcasm, like useful, a bit funny, but I think what we can all do here in this period of time, in this 3-4 days that we spend together, is find ways to answer this question. This was the first kind of square, an idea that I posted, and it was about this scene that was kind of being reborn post-COVID, like an expansion of what scene, ideas, house music, techno, Ibiza means, and yeah, the kind of primary idea behind it. It's not an ecosystem if everyone is doing the same thing. It being a creative ecosystem, when we build different ideas with the same principles and ethics. And I think more than anything here, as we span like loads of different musics, islands, places that we come from, I think the bond is probably principles and ethics. And hopefully, again, at the end of all these conversations, we can ask these questions about what those ethics and principles are. Yeah, and this is a couple of questions that I pose in this thread, but are the ideas still true at scale? And as we go through different talks, different ideas, different conversations, think about like the smaller bits of data, or the smaller bits of experience, the one-to-one conversations, kind of zooming out from our million streams or billion followers and all of these kind of big numbers, and thinking about, you know, whether the small ideas kind of scale down again. Because I think what's happened in the last 2, 3, 4 years, we've got so heavy into like big numbers that scale in a smaller sense maybe sometimes gets lost. I'll explore this a bit more in a second. I think this is like a bedrock of what a good conference is. Like a good conference has a bit of confrontation, but also respectful disagreement. And again, as we've had a lot of conversations online over the past 3 years, someone obviously big kind of geopolitical issues, someone scene politics, someone kind of different ways of handling things. I think this is like the necessary thing if we're gonna have like productive discussion. So again, respectful disagreement, challenging each other. Even at the end of this conversation, it would be good to have someone that challenges me in front of everyone and goes, I disagree with this. Elijah, I think this is stupid. This will be good. And bring it on. I'm up for it. Yeah, I mean, look, intergenerational exchange. People know about DJ AG, right? Yeah? Okay, good. I think like this thing of intergenerational exchange, recognizing people coming from different paths, like the future DJs or the new DJs aren't going to necessarily start in a small club anymore. They might start in the street in Brixton. They might start in a restaurant, in a cafe, in a coffee shop. This is a very different era, and recognizing people, even before they have like 1 million followers or whatever it is now, like people are going to come from different places, and DJs and producers and artists. Whoa, easy. DJs and artists are going to come from very different paths to what even I came through. I came through Rinse FM, Pirate Radio, London, Plastic People, Forward, all of these kind of scenes. But today, like our new DJs or our new favorite artists are going to come from different places. The same thing here. DJs are music journalists, and I have a lot of my music journalist friends that disagree with this, which is fine. This is my friend Derek G. Anyone heard of Derek G? Okay, good. But there's loads of those. Margot, there's like a whole bunch of people that are documenting our music in a different way. And I guess like most of our favorite DJs or people that we're following, that's the intergenerational exchange that we can be delivering, sharing our experience, sharing the things that we've been learning over the past 20, 30, 40 years, some of you, maybe 50 years, some of you as well. Yeah. But I feel like it's super important that we recognizing the different ways of documenting, storytelling. It's not all going to be via magazines or books or Resident Advisor or Mixed Mag or whatever it's going to be. We've got to kind of, again, embrace these new paths. Yeah, this too, super important. Recognize the sponsors, big up. But a whole bunch of new generation are playing with how to manipulate hardware and introduce new form factors to what we do. This is my friend Tigris from London, who made her own DJ controller. And I expect over the next few years, we're going to see like DJs hacking these systems and coming out with new ways to play around with things. And the more we see people share these things online, hopefully like the bigger companies can be like, okay, this is someone that we want to invest in, or this is an idea that we want to bring forward into the world. Yeah, intergenerational exchange means the same thing, like as kind of interdisciplinary exchange. A lot of that young people I've been meeting over the past 2, 3, 4 years, they DJ or they produce or they make music, but they also identify as, many things at the same time: a dancer, a teacher, collector, activist, director, journalist, creator, presenter, archivist, musician, producer, engineer, many other things. And their outputs are getting more and more diverse. So they're not going to just have like, I don't know, a record out on a cool label. They're going to be doing radio shows. They're going to be doing parties, exhibitions, songs, software, hardware, films, documentaries, labels, books, lectures. And I think like one of the good things about this event in general, there's so many different kind of forms that our DJs are taking, and the books that they're producing, and the radio and all sorts. So again, our interdisciplinary exchange might mean our producers are learning from our archivists, and our creators are learning from our filmmakers, our hardware people are learning from our teachers, and so forth. Yeah, back to the small numbers. I think when I speak to a lot of people that have the capacity for philanthropical efforts, people go big. And I've been trying to push back on some of my friends that have been, people that have helped me. I'm saying like, actually, why don't you start at one? The one person that you can help, the one person idea that you believe in that maybe doesn't have the resources yet, and back it to the moon. Why not? It might not be like something that necessarily grabs headlines. It might not be something that you can be like, hey, I've got 1,000 people community, but you can say you made a difference in this one small scenario. And what I've tried to do with this project, even though I haven't been able to necessarily offer any direct mentoring, people that I have believed in, I've like spoken about them, used my own social feed to be like very proactive in the ideas I thought were good. Yeah, intergenerational exchange. There is a big conversation in the UK about the wealth gap today. Sure people have seen like Gary Stevenson's work. Yes? No? Yeah? Okay. There's this kind of loose, controversial topic. But one of the squares I posted last year was every initiative that makes it easier to live also makes it easier to create. So anyone that here has an opportunity to push back on policy of the government, but that makes our rent higher, that makes it harder to live, is also kind of making it harder for us to create. A lot of that kind of creative policy that we have in the UK right now just focuses on, artistic practice or grant funding. And this is very limited if everyone's rent is £1,500 a month. There's only a certain amount you can do creatively. So space is wealth. So people that have space of any kind, whether that's spare capacity in the studio, the spare room in the city, all of those things are a kind of wealth that you can help a lot. You can help another artist or another person that is that is not measurable in some sort of form of data. Yeah, the same thing here. Interesting cities can't be quiet. I come from London, and over the last 3-4 years in particular, yeah, we know the stories about the clubs closing down, but I think there's like a bigger, kind of darker thing about people wanting the city to become a quieter place. And our industry, our scene, our music has to push back on NIMBYism, not in my backyardism. Yeah? All right, I'm still with you. Okay, because if we don't represent noise, sound, people being outside and being together and having opportunity to kind of disrupt our own cities, then we lose it forever. And in the corner of London that I'm living in, I'm seeing scenarios now where I don't hear music coming out of the cars anymore. I don't hear like house parties. I don't hear like the kind of hum of the area that I used to live in. And I think that's because like everyone's gradually been told to turn it down. And I'm like, nah, fuck that. Keep London loud. Hear me? So this is a question that is going to be like recurring through the event. So what are you doing to pass the torch on electronic music? My kind of remix for it is what are you doing to expand the possibilities in electronic music? Electronic music, a lot of the outsiders looking in maybe just think, okay, you make beat, you put on show, you sell ticket, that's it. But like I said, going back to the kind of DJ kind of expanding view or the scene expanding view, like what can you do to expand the possibilities in electronic music? I'm gonna take a few questions. I've made sure I left enough time and we're gonna put these to work. But should we do a couple questions to get ready? Because I think starting off, I'm like the first talk. I wanna get everyone warm for everyone later. Is that cool? Sweet. All right, let's start at the front and go back. All right, go on, Jaguar, thank you.
Okay, I have a question.
Go for
I'm
it.
going to try and phrase it so it makes sense. I think I love what you said about, what was it, respectful disagreement. Is that what it was? Yeah, I think that's a really interesting one. I think especially when you play into like intergenerational differences as well, like a newer generation will have a different opinion than an older one. I think we live in a world of cancel culture as well. And I think sometimes it's really hard to know what to do in those instances where it's a personal thing or a professional situation where someone said something and it's like not being okay, and sometimes you're grappling with so many things. It's not as simple as like cancelling everything about a person because of one thing they've said. And I just wondered like what your kind of stance is on that regarding what you've just told us.
Yeah, there's so many layers. Like I feel like our scene, our community, whatever this thing is, for a lot of people has to have a path to forgiveness if someone has done something wrong. This is very difficult to kind of enact, but it's hard. I'm not even any doubt of that. But I feel like there's a big difference between like cancelling and just like not supporting. Cancelling is like actively making sure that someone else can't go outside or can't work, as deliberately ostracized, then being like, I don't like that person. I think that person's like just not my cup of tea. I don't want to be around them. And I think I would rather lean to that kind of, I don't want to be around that person. I really, really like them, rather than making sure that they can't go outside or they're deliberately ostracized. That's the difference. Does that make sense? It's not perfect, but I think that's like easier way for it to be dealt with in society in general. That's a good thing to disagree with, by the way. All right, let's go.
Hi,
Hello.
I'm Sylvia from VoiceBox. Lovely to hear from you. Thank you so much for this.
Easy.
We've been having conversations about different generations and how they engage with the dance floor and clubbing.
Mm-hmm.
And there is a little bit of a divide between the old guard and the new breed coming through in terms of, you know, some of the oldies are like, oh my God, everyone's just taking selfies on the dance floor and this, that, and the other. How do we move more towards just accepting that everyone in the scene is going to appreciate and enjoy electronic music in their own way, and that that's a good thing, and we shouldn't be lecturing people to change to what we were used to back in the day?
Yeah, that's a great question. What I've done for nights that I've done myself, I've said, like, take as many pictures as you like, but stop at like 1 a.m. Like, have you ever taken a good picture post 1 a.m.? And there's a certain point in the night where, like, I think all the cameras should be off, you know? That's like the 4K drone thing flying around the DJ, all of that stuff. Like, me personally, I don't want my audience to be content. And I feel like if on the other side, like if the artists and the promoters and the way we organize is setting an example, then the audience follow. So we can't say to the audience, hey, like, don't take pictures or video if they take pictures and video, you know? That's not really fair. And I think on the artist side, when we used to do shows, Richard, like what I learned from some of the concerts was people would just do the first 3 songs and then the cameras go down. And I think this is a good rule for DJs. Play your tunes at the beginning, and then you do a bit at the end, and then everything in between goes dark. That'd be like kind of easy enough to maintain. Yeah. Should do like 2 more, and then I'll do some memes. Yeah. Where's the mic? Sweet. Thank you. Are you going to disagree?
No.
All right. Someone's got to disagree with something, and then we'll...
I do have a question, though.
Go for it.
Sorry, my name's Tony Tambourine. I'm a publicist from Tambo PR. I wanted to say, is it enough now just to be a DJ?
No.
Do you have to engage in everything else around it in the universe, creating content, curating, commentary, journalism?
Yeah. No one has to do anything. It's just there is a lot of enjoyment to take out of these other things, and maybe, I guess the way I've tried to do this project even is maybe I'll do less of, like, say, like the DJ aspect, but then expand different ideas, expand an idea in many different mediums. I don't think anyone has to do that. This is not a have to. This is we can. What happens if we do? Does it make it more interesting? Can we make it more fun? I'm not necessarily like a promoter of more content or anything like that. I have a book. It's called Close the App for a reason. But again, expanding the forms, expanding like the ideas in electronic music rather than going, well, all a DJ can be is someone that mixes one tune into another. We know it's more. It's always been more. There's a lot more to it. So it's just expanding those forms. Should we get a disagreement? Yeah. All right, we got one in the back. All right. You've got you, and then we'll do you at the back. Go on.
All right, check. Hi, Elijah. It's Kikalama here.
Hello.
I'm a DJ plus. I think in terms of disagreement, I think it's important to ask yourself why you want to be a DJ. Like, if the motivation is just to play music for yourself in a bedroom, there's nothing really else needed than be just a DJ. But I think there's so much, as you said, there's a lot of enrichment that comes with it, but I think that's kind of connected to what motivations are. Is that to kind of build a community around music? Is that to kind of engage with music through different mediums? Is it to kind of like explore the world? Is it to be famous? Is it to be rich? Like, depending on your motivation, that will depend on how you engage with DJing and if DJing's just enough, you know?
100%. So like one of the bits of writing I did was the disconnection of DJing, which is just the collecting, the creating of love of music for yourself, and being a DJ, which is a performing art. And I think the majority of the people in this room, like, are DJs or very connected and in love with music. That's why you're here. But then the being a DJ part, like the building of a brand and performing and all that kind of stuff, is very like a smaller, like there's not that many people that really want to do that. not as many as you think. All right, we'll do one more. We've got 30 seconds because I'm going to keep to time. Quickly, and then I can fit in the memes in 15 seconds if we know this.
Hello, I'm Cardano. I'm from Vancouver, Canada. Do you find it like interesting, as in you'll go to like a hip hop club versus a dance music club, right? And I feel that a hip hop club, people aren't really watching the DJ, as in dance music. It's right. Do you feel like there's do you feel like there's any weirdness in that in a way?
I'm over by 8 seconds. We'll talk about that, and I'm going to keep the time. Yeah, is that cool?
Bad question.
Yeah, it was just because we're over time. But
okay,
we'll speak afterwards. But thank you. But big up. I'm going to do the memes in 10 seconds. Right? They don't know how to DJ.